Hi there, I'm Jenna Cullinane Hege, Vice Chancellor for Institutional Research and Analytics at Austin Community College. This is the second in our Data Debrief series, a set of videos to help you and the whole college dig into the data that's informing decision making and what we're focused on, where are our successes, and what are our next steps to continue to improve student success. So today we're going to focus on our 3-year graduation rate. As Dr. Rhodes mentioned during General Assembly, we have good news to share. Our graduation rate has been increasing, and this year we have reached at least 22.3%. So we say at least, this is our preliminary information. We'll get our final data from the coordinating board in January. So this is what we've been seeing over the last couple of years. We've seen significant improvement. So just 3 years ago, our 2015 cohort, just 7.2% of those students completed within 3 years, up to 15.3%, 18.6%, and as I said, for our 2018 cohort, our preliminary number is 22.3%. So while this is certainly something we should celebrate, we're seeing a lot of payoff for the improvement efforts we've been engaged in over the last couple of years. We also know there's still more work to do. If you look at our peers, our very large community colleges in Texas, the median for this group is 24.4. So we are talking about keeping our eye on 25, and that is all about reaching and exceeding the median for our peer group of a 25% graduation rate. So how many more students would it really take to get to 25%? Is this achievable and reasonable? And the answer resoundingly is that this will be challenging, but yes, we needed just 48 additional students to reach 25% last year. And cohort sizes change year to year, but this is kind of in the ballpark of what we'd need. And I'm sure we can all envision the faces of 48 students and think about ways that we can support increased success for this group. So 48 is a small number because when we look at this cohort, these are our first time full-time students, and this is a fairly small cohort. So we have 1,802 of them in the cohort from most recently the fall 2018 cohort. And we supported 402 of them to successfully complete a degree or certificate within 3 years. I do want to point out the differences in outcomes across race ethnicity groups. And here I'll just point out Black and Asian, where you can see they had roughly the same number of students in this first time full-time cohort, but quite different outcomes, 16% graduation rate for Black students and 35% for our Asian students. This is something we need to keep an eye on and address. So we're thinking about what are the next set of strategies, interventions, supports that we can offer to continue to improve and reach that 25% graduation rate. One thing we took a look at is those students who needed just a little bit more time than 3 years. They needed an extra semester or an extra year. And these ultimately successful students, what we find is that some of them didn't apply for graduation even though they were eligible. So making sure we get every single student to apply for graduation as soon as they're eligible is really critical. And intervening among those students who failed 2 or more classes. If they failed 2 or more classes, they could still be successful, but they took a little bit longer to get to that completion. We also examined semester credit hour accumulation. Here I'll draw your attention to the turquoise line. And as we reach 24 semester credit hours in a year for this group of students, that's where we start to see a jump up, that these students were able to complete in 3 years if they're taking at least 24 semester credit hours in that first year. So these are first-time full-time students in the fall, as I mentioned, so they're taking at least 12 hours in the fall. So to get to 24, we need them to be taking at least 12. We want them to stay full-time in the spring or using both spring and summer to reach that critical tipping point of 24 hours. This is a really important advising opportunity. We also examined success in our gateway courses, and what we see, if students are a successful ACC grad within 3 years, overwhelmingly they successfully completed math and English in that first year. Students who took just one, and most likely that's English, they're likely to have persisted or they may have stopped out. So it's really critical that they do both within that first year. So just to wrap up some recommendations from this analysis, we want to make sure that all students who are eligible are applying for graduation as soon as they can. We want to support students to take math and English in the first year. We want them to be taking at least 24 semester credit hours for this critical CB cohort group, and we need to continue to focus on and address our equity gaps in completion. So with that, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to the Office of Institutional Research and Analytics. Thanks so much.